All right, and our top focus from West Asia. Iranian state media has confirmed killing of Revolutionary Guards Chief Major General Hossein Salami in Israeli strikes. This is the latest that we're getting right now.
Well, the state TV reported fire and smoke was seen at IRGC General Command headquarters in Pirozi Street in the east of Tehran. And Iranian state media is also saying that Israeli strikes on residential buildings in the Iranian capital killed a number of civilians, including children.
Apart from that, blasts were heard in the Natanz city in Iran's central province of Isfahan, where a key nuclear site is located. This is Israeli air forces had conducted airstrikes on Iran, with explosions being heard across Iran's capital, Tehran.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said moments ago that Israel launched Operation Rising Lion against the Iranian threat to Israel's survival. Israeli pilots struck many targets in Iran, including Iran nuclear enrichment program, targeting its main enrichment facility in Natanz. Now, Israel has also struck the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Netanyahu said, "We are at a decisive moment in Israel's history, and this operation will continue for as many days as it takes."
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program.
The IDF spokesperson says Israel launched a precise and integrated preemptive strike based on high-quality intelligence with the aim of striking the Iranian nuclear program and in response to the Iranian regime's ongoing aggression against Israel.
Well, dozens of Air Force aircraft completed the opening strike, which included attacking dozens of military targets, which included nuclear targets in various areas of Iran. Now, sources suggest that the strike has targeted Iranian leaders from the IRGC, but it is yet to be confirmed.
Now, Israel has declared a state of emergency, warning of retaliatory action from Tehran. Defense Minister Israel Katz said Israel conducted a preemptive strike against Iran and that a missile and drone attack against the state of Israel and its civilian population is expected in the immediate future.
Well, air raid sirens sounded in Jerusalem after the Defense Ministry declared a state of emergency. The blast took place after US President Donald Trump warned that Israel could soon strike Iran's nuclear sites. Now, President Trump has called National Security Meeting of the Cabinet.
Now, to discuss this further, we're now being joined by Adrian Calmel from New York. He's a fellow at Arabian Peninsula Institute, terrorism and Middle Eastern scholar, as well as the author of the forthcoming book on Hezbollah. Thank you so much for joining us on World DNA. Always a pleasure to have you. Let me just begin by asking first what your assessment of these latest strikes by Israel are. In your assessment, what do you think this is going to result with?
What I expected, well, thank you for having me, first of all. What I expect from this is that this is going to throw the regime into complete disarray. The nuclear program was something that was, Khamenei believed was critical to the survival of the regime. That's why he would not give up on the enrichment or the reprocessing. And that necessitated the Israelis to take out these strikes. Because they are getting too close to was the weaponization, the militarization of their highly enriched uranium. So what I believe this will do, and this is still early stages, you have to remember that the Iranian people have been robbed, stolen from, oppressed, and that money has gone into the nuclear program, or it's gone into the pockets of IRGC commanders, etc. What I expect is that this will almost be a dog whistle of sorts, where the Iranian people, I expect, and we're talking about 90 million people, are going to come back and try and take back their country.
Right, and we know, and this is what we can anticipate from the conversation that's going forward, that Iran had already warned Trump that if we witness Israeli strikes, it is going to hold Washington directly responsible. And now in the wake of, we're expecting these retaliatory strikes from Iran, Israel is already bracing by closing down the schools and airspace. The big question is, what do we expect going forward? Because it's already jeopardized the talks between Tehran and Washington about the nuclear enrichment.
Right,
so what's
also, given the fact that the Revolutionary Guards Chief Major General Hossein Salami has been confirmed killed in the strikes as well.
Salami as well. Okay. Yeah, well, what was supposed to happen over the weekend in Oman, those discussions, I didn't expect them to go anywhere. Last night, Steve Witkoff, who was kind of doing the mixed messaging and not giving a clear message, he came down and said, no reprocessing, no enrichment. So I do believe that there was a wink and a nod from the Trump administration. I don't believe Israel completely acted alone in this. I believe that Trump had seen that negotiations had been completely exhausted. Khamenei was unwilling to give up this program to enrich and to reprocess. And let me just say that any country, every country in the world, if the Islamic Republic reprocessed and was able to enrich uranium, they would be, and as they say, they don't want a nuclear weapon, they would be the first country in the world that has those capabilities but doesn't have a nuclear weapon. So their option was always to buy, if they wanted a peaceful nuclear program, to buy it, to purchase it on the open market, just as every other country does. But they chose not to, because ultimately it was a movement towards the bomb, and that's what the Israelis decided to take out. And the ballistic missiles, that's taking out the second strike capabilities. Trump was warned, we've been warned that we'll be held directly responsible and that the Islamic Republic will respond. Yeah, absolutely, we fully expected that. But there's been a lot of shaping exercises that have been taking place. We also have to remember that the Air Force, the Islamic Republic, their Air Force, the fighters that they have to carry out any attacks, they can get to Israel, but they can't get back. They can't refuel. So all they have are ballistic missiles and drones. And the drone factories were targeted in the last couple of days. There's been targeting in Lebanon. There was targeting in Yemen as well, in anticipation of this second strike that will be coming from the Islamic Republic. But we have to remember back when they did this before, after the assassination of Hania, and after they hit the Damascus annex, the Islamic Republic launched a series of volleys. One was 200 projectiles, the other one I think was 700 to 800 projectiles, and they didn't do any damage. They ended up killing 2 innocent civilians that were actually Arabs. So they don't have the capabilities and the capacity. They've got a lot of bluster right now, and over the last bunch of years, they've been using the nuclear blackmail card, and that's been the only leverage that they had, especially after Hezbollah.
Right now, of course, from what we are hearing from the Israeli side as well, Netanyahu has very clearly announced that this will go on till it's over. To what end is really the question. He's also announced that the targets were military commanders, facilities, scientists. Would it be a stretch then to call this an all-out war?
Yeah, it would be a stretch to call it an all-out war, because we're not going to see ground mobilization. We're not going to see troops moving in there. What we're seeing are precision strikes, one, to take out those capabilities, the nuclear facilities. Number 2, taking out the individuals who run the military, who will call those second strikes, the key individuals such as Salami, and also hitting those ballistic missile sites, hitting those areas. So I don't see it as being a full-fledged war. This is a degrading. This first phase obviously looks a lot like shock and awe. It was a big punch in the nose for the Islamic Republic, but this is going to continue, and they're going to continue to degrade to the point where I expect that the Iranian people will come back and take back their country.
All right, Mr. Kalmal, thank you so much for joining us on World Day. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you so much for your insights on this.
Thank you.